the 20th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of December in 2010. This episode is titled The Pre-Dream. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. And I'm your host, Jason Atwood. And joining me in his post-dream, pre-dream, Dreamforce, Dream Off, my co-host, Justin Elsing. Justin, how are you today?
It's a whole lot of words. What a description. I'm doing well, thank you.
You getting ready?
I can taste it.
You can taste Dreamforce.
I can taste the clouds.
Tastes like mocha?
It's like marshmallow. Marshmallow goodness.
So we have a all Dreamforce edition of CloudFocus Weekly.
So those people interested in the Microsoft private cloud can turn this episode
Those
off.
interested in Google Wave, this is not your episode.
Had to mention it. We just gave a fist pound.
We just did a fist pound for that.
Listening at home.
So we're going to talk about two blog posts by us. One is that we didn't talk about last week, about three things I love about the Dreamforce app, written by Justin here.
Because I do love the Dreamforce app.
We have a t-shirt contest that we'll talk about, or a giveaway.
It's not really a contest.
It's more of a giveaway.
It's a giveaway.
Because contests have rules and regulations that give.
There are some rules.
We're going to talk about Chatter for iPad, iPhone, and maybe the Dreamforce app, and what all that means, because some of it exists and some of it's coming soon, as just late updating. And then some news is coming out about Dreamforce. Some of it came out 2 weeks ago about whether you can or cannot tweet during the keynotes, including President Clinton's keynote, and whether some of the things are going to go free or freemium. And then we'll end up with no pick of the week, but we will rename it for this week, the CloudFocus app tip of the week. So we're going to give our Dreamforce tip. We've been there a few years. So let's get started on your blog post about the Dreamforce app. So for all of you who don't know, first of all, we'll do the top level. If you don't know what Dreamforce is the annual user partner community meeting for Salesforce.com.
Don't forget the developers.
Developers. That's hosted by Salesforce out in San Francisco, usually in the fall. Next year, by the way, if you didn't know this, maybe this is, I'm not even allowed to say it, but I'm going to say it. It's going to be in August, so interesting. Better time to be in San Francisco, personally. I don't know.
I kind of like, because we're in the Northeast, I like going out there.
It's 57 and raining out there right now.
No, it's nicer weather there than it is here in the Northeast, that's for sure.
We've been out there sometimes when it's been cold and miserable.
Well, I don't even bring a jacket, so...
Well, you're kooky.
I am a little.
So... Anyway, it's a great conference. It's grown over the years. This will be my fourth year. This will be your third.
My third, yeah.
Right, my fourth.
My third time at Dreamforce, with all three times with three different organizations.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I've had a very interesting view of Dreamforce. I've gone as a customer of sales. Well, obviously a customer all three times, still a customer, but a partner this year.
Yep.
Last year I went with a nonprofit as an employee and a customer as one of the large nonprofit customers. The year before that as one of their largest customers in the world. So very interesting viewpoint of looking at Dreamforce through three different lenses, and I'm very interested in seeing how this year goes for myself personally as
only a small customer and a partner.
Small customer and a partner as opposed to customer, and how maybe you get treated a little differently. We'll see.
I went the first year we were a big company, small customer. Second year, big company, big customer. Third year, big company, smaller customer. And then now I'm going as a partner and customer. Definitely a different view to it. So I'm actually interested. This is the first year. Last year I spoke. You spoke last year.
I've spoken the last 2 years. This is my first Dreamforce not speaking. I'm off the hook.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm like, there's a little bit about me that while I love speaking and I love sharing the knowledge, although this is what this podcast kind of is now, I'm happy because even though I am not that nervous and I've done it a bunch of times, there was something about, sitting there on Monday morning or Tuesday or whenever, listening to the keynote, and there was just always in the back of my mind, I've got to go speak. Well,
you're representing yourself and the organization that you're there with, and you have to make sure to do that properly.
Right.
And you want to look better than the other people that you're presenting with.
That's true, yes.
For you, it was pretty easy last year because you...
Yeah, no comment. Alrighty, so let's get to... So talk about the... So that's Dreamforce. Then the Dreamforce app this year, we've talked about it a little bit before. Basically, as you register for Dreamforce, you have a choice, which we didn't know last week.
Yeah, apparently you have a choice. You can... In years past, there has been a Dreamforce portal where you essentially go in and you register for Dreamforce. You say, hey, I'm going. You pay through it. You can book your hotel or travel through it as well, which is kind of nice. And then you can pick your sessions and fill your calendar up. And that was essentially the gist of the portal. During the actual event itself, they released a few other features where you can access content, like the decks that are being presented at the breakout sessions, as well as cases. So you can submit a case to Dreamforce support and get an answer like, hey, where is this? Or is there going to be Wi-Fi, or whatever your question might be. This year, they have that, but they also have the Dreamforce app, which is a chatter-based application and portal where apparently a little more than half of the registered attendees have chosen to go this route and put themselves into the Dreamforce app, where you can do all the things that I just described that you could always do in the portal, but you have a completely chatterized experience of being able to communicate and collaborate with other attendees that are going to Dreamforce. There's profile pages, there are group pages. Anyone can create a group. I think there's 700 or 800 groups as of the time that we're recording this, which is December 2nd. And you can join those groups. There are private groups that some people have created just for their company. And if you're having 20 some odd people there from your organization, you might create a group so that you guys can keep on top of where each other are going to be, etc. So I wrote a post about why I loved the Dreamforce app, and a lot of it had to do with chatter, but essentially my three favorite things were the agenda builder, the ability to go in, look at a session, and by the way, all the sessions are chatter enabled, so you can go into a session and you can talk to the people that are either attending the session or people who are speaking at that breakout session, or even the host of that session, and mold it a little bit. Like the hosts are asking people on their chatter feeds of their session, hey, what would you actually like to hear? And you can, if you're really interested in something like formula magic, for example, which I'm interested in going to see, you can give some examples of things that you'd like to see formulas for, and they can mold the presentations in that way, and maybe ask some questions beforehand that you can get answers to, which is really different experience from years past. Other things the second thing was access. I mean, it is great to be able to just, send a message to Tom Wong, which I'm sure he's going to get really busy over the next couple of days, and say, hey, how's this going? Or
he's the head of
Tom Wong's the head of Dreamforce, head of their events, and he essentially has all 12,000 people following him. And you can say, hey Tom, how's this going, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? And you have this unprecedented access to the actual people who are running the event. I mean, you can follow Mark Benioff, you can send Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, a message, and maybe he'll respond to you. It's interesting to be able to have that level of access to more important people at the conference before the conference starts.
And the last point you had was about chatter, which we've discussed before. If you're a Salesforce person, you know about. But for the people out there who don't know Salesforce and chatter, it's basically taking the concepts of social networking, following, searching, profiles, groups, feeds, statuses, files, and then following those files and bringing that to the Dreamforce app. And I think that's, you put it as your third point. It is amazing because this has become what we are as a society in a lot of ways. I mean, think of the 500 million people on Facebook. There's something right about that, right? People like it, and it's a paradigm that people are very used to, the statuses, the following. So to go into this portal that you would otherwise think, okay, it's a conference portal, blah, blah, but then it turns into this social networking thing. And it is truly social. Like, there's a group called the Awesome Group, which is, about whatever, awesomeness, and it's basically a joke group, kind of just made up for fun, but has had a ton of people. We actually created a group for for football people who are going out to Dreamforce and want to figure out what games are going on and to talk a little pre-Dreamforce smack, and that's had a lot of people enter into it. So I think that piece is just what's made this totally special. And I don't know where their expectations were in terms of how many people would pick this or use it. My guess is that it's blown through what they thought in terms of usage, in terms of users. I know I'm in there almost every day now. it's become
my social network of choice.
It's become the social network. I'm on there not more than Twitter, but I'm definitely more than Facebook at this point.
Yeah, if there was a Chatter desktop that I could connect to the Dreamforce app, I'd be on it the most. Like, I'm on Twitter more because I have a client that sits on my desktop.
Right.
I'm on this app far more than I am on Facebook, that's for sure. And, if there was a desktop app or a different way to connect to it, then I might be on it even more. But I am on it every day, whether I'm, answering questions that people are throwing out there just to help out the community, or asking questions of the community, or posting things that I think are interesting, or joining group conversations. It's really a fantastic new way of thinking about collaborating pre-conference, and there have been rumblings that it will exist post-conference.
I think this is I've actually talked to someone at Salesforce who shall remain nameless the other day, and I was saying, if Salesforce doesn't get this as a way, right, they've got ideas, they've got answers to interesting communities, and have been wildly successful. If they can figure out a way to turn this into an application used by all licensees of Salesforce, that everybody gets into but a protected org where they have this and this communication back and forth with people at Salesforce, and the chatter and the following and the partners and all that, I think it could, in very short time, replace things like Ideas, although Ideas is externally available, so other people in the world who aren't there, but it could become even bigger and a massive thing that very few other companies have been able to take on. So I think it has huge legs to grow on. And so, speaking of huge legs, let's talk about our contest.
Yeah.
So the good people of Arkus, in all of their wisdom,
that would be us,
decided to. This came about from been going for years, and so if you've ever seen a Salesforce presentation, or ever been to one, or had one present to you, when they talk about future stuff, they always have something called the Safe Harbor Statement, which they put up as the first slide.
You will see this at every keynote. You will see this at every breakout session. You will see this literally everywhere, all over Dreamforce.
And since I've been a Salesforce customer for a long, long time, I've seen it millions of times. And we always thought it'd be funny to make a t-shirt. Like, wouldn't it be funny if we made a t-shirt that had it on the back and, do something with that? So, being that we now have the ability to, and because we're funny, we actually made up a t-shirt. And it has the Arkus logo on the front, on the sort of the breastplate there. And then on the back, it has sort of the slide, made up with no real words in there, because I didn't really want to get into a fight with someone at legal.
It's lorem ipsum with a couple little Easter eggs in there.
We have some Easter eggs in the lorem ipsum, which I think even makes it better. That was your idea.
Thank you.
And then, at the bottom it says, "Have you seen me?" Kind of like a wanted poster for something that everybody sees. So, a joke. So we set up a contest. We actually ordered a few, and then we got some feedback that other people might want them. We thought, well, we'll start a little contest. We'll make up more than a few. And we started the contest, and we're calling it a giveaway, but a social scavenger hunt. So the rules are, you have to do 4 things, or 4 or 5? 5 things?
Well, it's 4 things, and the 5th thing would be to collect your t-shirt.
Okay, so
I'll run them down. The first thing you got to do is you have to go to Twitter and follow our company at Arkus Inc., which we mention at the end of every podcast, so you should already be following us. But if you aren't, this is a good reason to do so.
Yep.
So follow at Arkus Inc. on Twitter. Secondly, go to Facebook and like us. Arkus Inc. Arkus, INC. No,
it's facebook.com/Arkus Inc.
Well, you can search for it. Arkus
you can search
Inc.
it for it. If you just put in Arkus, you'll pretty much get it.
Yeah, you'll get it.
And it's linked everywhere.
Yeah, you'll find it. It's in the show notes. Thirdly, join the Arkus t-shirt contest group in the Dreamforce app.
So just to be clear, the people who join we will then take the people who have joined that group, and we will then print them out and then go make sure they've done the other 2. So that'll be the last step, because we're going to make sure that we're going to basically say, if you've joined up, then we're going to go check to see if you're on Twitter and check to see if you're on Facebook, and then kind of have that ready.
Yeah. And then the 4th thing is to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
For a secret word that will be given at
any point in time
during the rest of this podcast.
Could be now.
So keep listening.
Or now.
We'll tell you when.
Or now.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Now.
Nope, not yet.
So
So that's it essentially, and the fifth thing, like I said, is to collect your T-shirt. When we give the secret word, we will let you know where and when to collect your T-shirt, and we'll just be checking people off to make sure you're in the group, and then make sure that you've done the other few things, and we think it'll be good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun. So first come, first serve.
First come, first serve, and then you have to make sure to wear your T-shirt around.
Yes, and it'll be Tuesday, so you'll have some chance to wear your T-shirt around. We'll be giving away the T-shirts away on Tuesday. And we will have other podcasts. So the other thing is that we will be podcasting from Dreamforce. So you might get a chance to maybe be in the audience of our podcast if you want. Cheer us on, kind of like David Letterman or something.
If you have something interesting to say, we might even let you on.
So all of that, both Justin's blog post and the T-shirt contest are at blog.arkusinc.com. So go there to read up on the rules. The links are all there. You click. You can literally complete the task of the contest in maybe 4 minutes.
Yeah, they're also, if you're following either Jason or I within the Dreamforce app, we've posted it in a number of different places within the app so that you can find it there as well.
Yep. So let's talk. So that's part of our agenda. Now we got the other thing. Chatter for iPhone came out, which is a standalone chatter app, just doing chatter, right? So there is a standalone Salesforce mobile app, then there's a standalone Salesforce mobile Lite app, which most people use, my guess, because it can do mostly everything, except for not custom objects and not creation of things. And now there's a chatter app. So for those who have just chatter licenses or just need chatter functionality, that now exists. You should try it. I know you haven't tried it yet, but I know you will any day.
Any day now.
Any day. And then we're actually waiting for 2 more things to come out, hopefully before Dreamforce, although they might be the same thing. One is a Dreamforce chatter app, or Dreamforce app, for the iPhone/iPad. I'm hoping
I want it for my iPad.
Although you can put an iPhone app on your iPad.
Yeah, but I want it as an iPad app.
I want it as an iPad app as well. And then a chatter app for the iPad. So kind of hoping that both things, I don't care if it's the same. I actually rather have chatter app for the iPad that I can log into the Dreamforce portal. Because everything I want to do, groups, files, follows, chat statuses is all in chatter. And to see how they built it into a chatter app would be very nice. Tom Wong of the aforementioned Dreamforce guru or Jedi has said that will be out tomorrow. So today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday.
Safe harbor.
Safe harbor, wear your T-shirt. Look at that, it's all coming back to T-shirt. So I'm pretty excited about that. We're big Apple fanboys, pretty much. We use a lot of Apple products. We're all iPhone users, all iPad users. I'm actually basically going to go iPad only. I'm going to bring this laptop, which I love. I have a MacBook Pro, 15-inch. Love it. But I'm going to bring this. It's basically going to sit in my hotel room for serious work at 3 in the morning when I'm up. But when I go to the conference, I'm going to take just my iPad.
That is so not true.
Except for the days that I'm podcasting.
Indeed.
Yes. Maybe you'll bring your computer.
I don't think so.
No, probably not. So, but I'm excited just to basically walk around with my iPad and my iPad only. I can do notes, I can do email, I can do enough functionality.
Get that Evernote ready.
Yes, get Evernote ready. I've already made that an app pick of the week before, but if you don't have Evernote and have not installed the iPhone version, the iPad version, the desktop version, and the web version, Mac or PC, try Evernote. No more. Don't collect cards from someone. When they say give me your card, you go up with your iPhone or your Android or whatever. You go into Evernote. You take a snapshot. It uploads it. It'll OCR it, which is optical character recognition, and then it'll be stored up there. You can search for it. You don't have to take any of that stuff.
I'm taking cards. I like to collect them.
I'm gonna take snapshots. I'm literally just go boom and then move on, and moving on. Everything all in Evernote. So we got some rumors. Well, I guess we got 2 rumors. One got rumored and then unrumored, and then the other is the rumor of what's coming up, and we can talk a little about that. So the first one was that originally the Clinton Foundation, or the handlers for Mr. Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, said that there would be no tweeting or sort of external communication or live blogging.
Yeah.
I've heard of this. During his keynote. Not the Mark Benioff big one at the beginning, but his sort of the one that's on, I think it's Wednesday night now. It's Wednesday 5 to 6, which is odd timing. They usually have it earlier.
No, I think that's about right.
It's not 5 to 6. Usually 3. It's usually 3. There's nothing that goes at 5 o'clock at night. I can guarantee you.
It is a little odd because it runs sort of close to
their parties and stuff.
Yeah, the parties and I mean, I remember last year during the special keynote, which was Colin Powell, that they had the Appies at the same time, which are the awards that they give out for applications that have been built over the last year.
We won
in different categories.
Two
we have
ago.
Actually won one.
We have it right here.
Pretty cool. The Hula Dell.
I will put it right here in front of the mic. There you go.
There we go.
For everybody at home, you can see it.
Hello, Hula Dell. She bobbles. And no one stayed for that. It was sort of sad. I was one of like 300 people, I think, left in the... It was funny because Mark Benioff and Jim Steele were up there just joking with each other. Yeah. It was really funny because no one was there. But I hope that they continue to do the Appies.
I think the Appies are great. It's definitely... It's a timing thing. And this isn't my CloudFocus tip of the week, but it'll be my pre-tip, which is that these things go long, and so make sure your bathroom situation is worked out. Make sure you have water. Make sure you're well hydrated, because they usually start much later than they're supposed to, and you've probably already been sitting there early. But they go long, and so at the end of 2 hours, you're sitting in a seat. You want to get up.
Particularly keynote 1 and 2.
1 and 2, yeah.
And unless Michael Dell comes on stage to sell servers, you sort of want to sit there.
I love selling servers.
So let's get back to our story, because
this
just
episode
sort of went
is sponsored
down a
by
rat hole.
Dell.
Just went down
the Dell server XT 5000.
Oh, that was really funny last year. Anyway,
was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was last year. Michael Dell comes on stage after about 2 hours of Salesforce drinking the Kool-Aid of you don't need to buy hardware anymore.
No hardware.
Michael Dell, one of their big Dell, a huge customer of Salesforce, comes out and is like, let's roll out a server.
And they literally put servers out on the stage and talked about
it's
buying them.
really funny.
I mean, the joke is that Salesforce uses nothing but Dell servers. So in that way, if you were going to build your own cloud, but percentage-wise, the people in that audience, from nonprofits, you made that comment in the last one, from nonprofits to small companies to big companies, 0.02% of those people are actually at the point where they're going to build their own cloud using Dell servers. So it was odd. It was completely odd.
It was the opportunity to get up and leave, which most people did.
So anyway, the rumor came out that you weren't going to allow to live blog. And
well, it wasn't even a rumor; it was a statement.
Sorry.
And I'll read it from the message. Essentially said, President Clinton's representatives have mandated that there be absolutely no reporting during the session that includes live blogging, tweeting, Facebook posting, or use of any other social media. We understand the inconvenience this may present, but greatly appreciate your compliance. Thank you. And then later on, they came back and they sort of redacted it. They said, oh, actually, we meant to say that we don't want traditional media doing these things. So we understand we're at a tech conference and people are going to be doing this, but we don't want the traditional media, meaning, people who are there with press passes from New York Times or Wall Street Journal or something like that, to be doing this. They understand completely that the average Joe will be doing this regardless. And I don't even know how they could stop it, to be honest.
They could put in dampeners. I mean, it's hard to do. Plus, first of all, the Wi-Fi in that place, when you have 15,000 people or whatever, the Wi-Fi just dies. And so do the network towers. So I've sat in there, and yes, we've been able to get out a tweet or two, but it's tough.
It is very difficult.
So
iPhones don't work very well in San Francisco regardless.
It's just too many of them. In this conference, I'm sure there'll be way too many of them. What I think is really interesting is this whole... I mean, obviously it's been returned, and you can just see there was a call from somebody to somebody saying, excuse me, do you realize that this entire conference is going to be about mobile and Chatter, which is a social networking in terms of stuff. So you're basically saying that the entire thing that we're going to be focused our entire tech conference on, you don't want us to do during the tech conference keynote? It is almost as bad as someone getting up and trying to sell servers. So I'm glad they redacted it.
And there'll certainly be a good joke or two about it.
Yeah,
at the beginning of his keynote.
Would have been a good T-shirt too.
Would have been
if we got that going.
I'm tweeting during Bill Clinton's address. Whatever.
Just at Bill Clinton.
At Bill Clinton.
Okay, so that's that. And then one more rumor. I guess the last rumor before we get on to our tips of the week. is that this came out, and I guess was confirmed because Benioff actually put it on his Facebook status, which is that Chatter is going freemium. So, not sure how this is going to work. I don't think the details were released, but that they will announce a free version of its enterprise activity stream product. So, they'll announce it at Dreamforce. I think this is a little bit, hopefully there's something else than this, because while this is interesting, I don't know how it'll work. I don't know how the licensing will work. I don't know how, they've done other free versions of things before. They've had the free app version where you get 100 licenses to a Force.com app. That's been out there before. I don't know if that was highly successful or not.
Content has gone from a pay product to a free product. But this is different. This is like, you don't need to have owned anything in the past. You can just start up and use Chatter, which I think is...
But is this here? This is what I'm thinking. Is this someone to take I've never had Salesforce before in my life, and I just go and I can go in, log in, get a free version of Salesforce for perpetuity, and then install as many Chatter users as I want? Or is this, I have Salesforce licenses, and then I can add on as many Chatter licenses as I want?
My guess is that it's both.
Well, if it's one, it has to be the other.
Well, yeah, but my guess is that it's both. It's a shot at some of the services that are out there that do sort of internal tweeting, right? The internal Twitter.
You brought one up in
clients.
One of our.
Yes, I did, and I can't recall the name of it. Thanks for putting me on the spot, but I can't. I wish I remembered the name, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. And it was a good.
Some company too. Actually, I was talking to someone the other day who I can't remember, so I'll help you out there.
Thanks.
And
buddy.
They said they actually used it. So that was interesting.
That they used it for internal communication?
Yeah, they used it at their company for internal communication. The company pushed them towards that. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think is this in terms of a game changer, game shift?
It'll get people on the platform. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it does as far as like what kind of access will they have for companies who already have existing Salesforce instances. Will those people be able to see things, or will they just have a profile page, and will it just become
profile
that?
Groups,
documents, content? So
I could think
it could turn out to be something interesting. We'll have to wait and see, and that's why we're doing podcasts throughout the week, because after these things get announced, we'll have more information on them.
So I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Jeez.
I want your prediction.
Go on.
At the end of the show, I want you to give a Dreamforce prediction for the big announcement, and then we'll talk about that after the big announcement, see if we were right on or not.
It's going to be difficult. Like last year, who could have pulled Chatter out of their bone?
I don't know. So I think it's interesting. Again, I see a lot of companies doing this. Apple just did this with the Find My iPhone feature, which used to be mobile me only. They just released it, so if you have any of these devices, you can use the Find My iPhone feature. You're right. It's because Chatter is great. No, is okay by itself, meaning just Chatter. But it's when you bring in other objects and the data around the other objects that Chatter becomes the most useful. Turning it on for things like projects or opportunities or accounts or leads is when it sort of grows. But if you're using a free license, how are you going to have access to those things? And if you can, what does that mean for the 70,000 customers who don't, or 80 or 90, whatever the number is that he'll tell us in a couple of days? What does it mean for those people? It's like, wait, you now have access to this? It's certainly within Salesforce bailiwick to do this, right? They've done it with content, used to be pay. They did it with mobile. There was no mobile light. They bring out a mobile light, and they've added more features to mobile light. Chatter came out as a pay product last year. You could actually get Chatter licenses. My guess is they're doing that. They have a product called Knowledge. I guarantee you Knowledge will go free eventually. I actually put it on the Idea Exchange last year, free Knowledge or set Knowledge free or something like that. So it's definitely within their thing. I don't know if it's just they just always want to get the forerunners to pay the price, or if they just want to get them to use it for a while. Or I always feel if I pay for something for a year and then it goes free, I always feel kind of gypped. It's like, well, why did I have to pay for it for that year? Although maybe you figure, well, I used it for that year and now it's free. Now I don't have to pay for it next year, so I feel good about that. I was one of those customers who had an actual content license and used content and paid for it. And then when it went free, I thought, Yeah, it's both ways. Like, oh, great, everybody gets to use it now, but wait, I already paid for it, but now I don't have to pay for it next year. So,
Yeah. By the way, the service I was talking about is called Yammer.
Yammer, that's correct. You are correct, sir.
Thank you.
So, that's it for the big Dreamforce news. So now, instead of doing if you're a first-time listener, we usually do a CloudFocus app pick of the week. Because this is a Dreamforce-only podcast, we're going to talk about our CloudFocus tip of the week. So I'm going to have you go first and give me your tip. So this is is it a newbie or someone who's gone a long time? What's your tip for people going to Dreamforce that you want to give them?
Yep. So my tip would be to not fill your calendar up with too many breakout sessions.
So you can explain. There's actually a change this year. So explain the change.
I'll actually explain. So in the past, you could use the agenda builder that we mentioned earlier as part of the Dreamforce app to put sessions on your calendar and essentially say, I'm going to attend this session. But all it really did was put it on your calendar for your own personal display. And you could say, oh, I'm going to this session, this session, this session, and this session, and maybe they're all at the same time. So you could sort of fill your calendar with 4 sessions at one time, which I actually liked because then you're looking at your calendar and you can choose the one you want to go to.
Right.
This year...
But they couldn't, as the Dreamforce people, and Tommy Wong would say, I couldn't tell where you went.
That's right.
Right, so they would say, well, it looks like Justin went to 4 sessions.
Well,
I know he couldn't
they
have been all of
did
them.
check you in last year as you walked in the door.
That's right, you're right.
But this year is a little different. They're actually going to be reserving seats at the breakout sessions because people would do what I just described, sign up for like 4 sessions at a time.
So it's your fault.
It's sort of my fault. And the sessions would, for lack of a better term, sell out. So they'd be sold out. There'd be no seats left. But people have actually registered to go to them. And they'd end up like standing in the back or sitting on the floor or not allowed in. I actually sat on the floor for a session last year. So this year, you're locked into that session. When you say, I'm going to this session at this time, you're locked into it. You have a seat reserved. And if that session is sold out, other people who haven't yet registered for it can't register for it. Now, they'll save your seat for up to 10 minutes before the actual thing starts.
Is that actually 10 minutes?
10 minutes. So I think there's 15 to 20 minutes usually between session times. 15, I think, is the number. So they're going to save your seat for up to 10 minutes before the session's going to start. And then they'll let people who have not registered into the session. My advice is to register for the sessions that you want to go to, but don't go to all of them. You will find out that as you go to these sessions that you will find out interesting things and interesting stories from people, but essentially they will be presenting PowerPoint decks, and you can find those decks later on the Dreamforce app and throughout the portal inside of the content area, and
as well as the video
on YouTube later on, so you can always watch it later. And you'll be missing out on opportunities to walk around the conference, walk around the expo floor while it might not be too crowded, and meet different people. Now, sessions are great places to meet people, but I find that you have really good, meaningful conversations while just walking around the conference in the, whether you're a developer and you want to go to the developer zone or you're interested in the product on the expo floor. It's a good time to sort of take advantage while other people are sitting in their breakout sessions. So what's your tip?
So I just want to add on to that is
Sure.
that my favorite type of session has gone from being something that was sort of descriptive and to something that is panel. I actually like, my favorite sessions now are the panel discussions where you get, not people who are getting up to sort of talk to you, like I did this, this, and this, and here's my deck about it, but more of, here's 5 people that are experts in this, and they're going to sort of converse back and forth, and because you get different opinions, you get kind of things running in circles, and you get to ask questions. I find those the more interesting now.
The roadmap sessions are also good because I don't believe that they publish those after the fact.
Right. So that's a good, and there's at least 5 safe harbor slides before the roadmap session.
You could be wearing your Safe Harbor t-shirt.
If you wore your Safe Harbor t-shirt and stood up at the front of the roadmap when the Safe Harbor was up on the screen and took a picture, I'll give you another Safe Harbor t-shirt. Just saying. So mine is, I'm going to give it a title. Mine's called Light and Picky. So I've learned over the years that there's a lot of great stuff to be had. And there's a lot of great swag, which is stuff we all get, swag, that you can get at conferences. And the first year I went, I came back with lots of stuff. In fact, I see the thing I brought back for you from one of the sessions or something. And I was just inundated. I couldn't put stuff into my bag on the way back. I had tons of paper. I had all these big binders full of stuff. The second year I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be much more picky. So the second year I went for just the stuff I wanted. I also didn't pick up the bag. They usually give out some sort of thing, although I don't even know if they're doing that this year. It seems to get smaller and smaller with the more people, with 25,000 people. They give some sort of, there used to be a bag, and then it was a shoulder bag, and then, so they usually give out something, and it has a lot of paperwork in it. My advice is A, either pick that up early and then bring it back to your hotel room and just take out the pieces that you need, or B, don't pick it up until the end, until you actually want to leave, and be very discerning about what they're not going to run out, or they just generally don't. They haven't when I've in the last 3 years. And then when you're walking around getting swag stuff, the things that bobble and the little fun things and the monkey that flies and screeches at the same time, just be discerning. Think of the things that you're going to want to see in your office for the next 5 years, or stuff that you're not going to end up just throwing away when you get back to your your hotel room. Just be discerning when you're picking up stuff, because I found I used to pick up tons of stuff and I would just regret it and I'd end up throwing it away, or I'd pick up too many t-shirts. So pick up the 1 or 2 things that you think are great. I would suggest there's a great t-shirt out there, the Safe Harbor t-shirt. You probably want to get one of those, although you have to complete some arduous tasks to do so. But so that's mine. So it's light and picky. Make sure that you don't weigh yourself down as you walk around. If you don't need to bring around a laptop, don't. You're gonna spend a lot of your time just with a backache, because you're on your feet, you're talking to people, you're just always shifting it around. Try to keep yourself light, hydrated, and on the go when you're at the conference, and you'll survive better. It's long days. All right, so that ends it. But before we go, we have to give the
moment people have been waiting for.
The special secret word for the contest. So the special word is, and we'll be repeating this word. Actually, there'll be a different word in the next podcast. If you have both, you're a double secret winner. But
don't go publishing this either.
Yeah, don't publish this anywhere. The special word is Arky. 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 It is the name of our pet rock here at the Arkus offices. There's actually a picture on Facebook of it. So the special word is Arky. You say that special word. So remember, do the like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, in the group. Have the special word, meet us at the special spot, which will be in the lunch session, Cloud Dine, or whatever they're calling it this year, after the first keynote, which will be, we'll have that, we'll throw that out to all the social networks at that time, and have that word, and you will get yourself a t-shirt. We have limited supplies, so first come, first serve, and we'll see you there. But until then, if you want to make sure, you can always follow us at twitter.com/ArkusInc, or Justin here, twitter.com/JustEdelstein. You can follow me at twitter.com/JasonMAtwood. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com//ArkusInc. And best way to get the podcast, if you haven't already, if you're not subscribed, go to iTunes, type in CloudFocus Weekly, hit subscribe. We post the links everywhere. You'll get the message coming. Again, this week, we usually do 1 a week. This week, we're going to do 3. So if you didn't know that, if you were waiting to hear a tweet or something, you would miss those. So go to iTunes, hit subscribe. You'll get them as they flow down. And as you're there, please leave a great review. We'd love to get some reviews on iTunes, so more reviews. 5 stars or above are always acceptable. But thank you for joining us today on CloudFocus Weekly. And until next week, keep on dreaming.